how come I'm not getting paid? And that's what drove home the point to me that every time the music gets played, somebody gets paid. Every time the music gets played, somebody gets paid.
In part 1, I gave an overview of how the music industry works and why a lot of musicians go broke by signing 360 deals. In part 2, I used a real-life example of an artist named Kreayshawn talking about her deal and why she doesn't make any money from her music because of the deal she signed. The most popular comment was criticizing the artist for signing the deal and not getting a lawyer. This is a very good point, but what if the artist did have a lawyer? Here is an entertainment lawyer on the Ill Mind podcast.
The misconception about entertainment lawyers, most of them is like that they're going to do more than just look over your paperwork.
Right.
Most of them, even your favorite ones, are going to just look over your paperwork.
Unfortunately, the language in contracts can deter most people from even trying to read the contract. If you don't have any context or base level understanding of the wording used in entertainment contracts, then it's unlikely that you'll be able to make sound judgments as to what you're actually signing. So you listen to all the comments on my YouTube videos and you hire a lawyer. In the video I shared, the lawyer mentioned that some may just look over the paperwork and make sure there isn't anything out of the ordinary. Well, that's not great if the ordinary is an artist signing away their masters and ownership for a small cut. Some artists don't actually need to go find a lawyer because their friends at the record company said, "Don't worry, new artist, we have you covered. We'll give you the contact info to a lawyer that's respected in town." Here's Royce da 5'9", one of my favorite hip-hop artists, explaining the lawyer game.
A lot of the attorneys, especially if they link you up with attorneys, a lot of the attorneys are they're drawing up label-friendly deals, telling the artist to sign them and telling them that it's fair. And what they're doing by that is they're building up a relationship with the executives at the labels. So, you know, the artist coming and going is just kind of like a revolving door. You know what I mean? So during that process, the attorneys build up the relationship with the people at the record labels. The attorney is charging the artist and also getting kickback from the label.
I've heard this said in a few places now that many artists are signing deals with the help of a lawyer without knowing that their lawyer friend is either employed by the label or has a financially benefiting relationship with the label. This is the textbook definition for conflict of interest. On July 15th, 2020, news broke that popular hip-hop group Migos was suing their lawyer. Migos alleged that their own lawyer had cheated them out of millions of dollars. The group sued him for malpractice. Their attorney, Damian Granderson, has been their lawyer since 2013, but since he also represents the record label Quality Control Music, the group claimed that he used his position to negotiate deals with 300 Entertainment and Capitol Music that left their record label with a disproportionate compensation, although it was at the expense of Migos. Migos complained that due to Granderson's conflicts of interest, the record deal would allow Capitol to distribute all albums that QCM produced, and that QCM was actually profiting far more handsomely than was apparent from the face of the documents that Granderson personally presented to Migos for immediate execution. They also claimed that their lawyer failed to disclose both the complete nature of his relationship with QCM and the complete nature of the conflict in representing both QCM and Migos. He also apparently made them sign terms that were unconscionable for Migos in an amended 2018 distribution deal with Capitol. Here's DJ Toomp, a legendary producer, speaking on the matter.
Of anything, in any type of business, if you think about it, that's kind of like your attorney being your label. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's like, okay, if you got a problem with the label, it's your management that's supposed to get on the label's case.
Right.
But if your management is the label, how that's gonna work.
I'm a licensed real estate agent in Cincinnati, Ohio. You have disclosure agreements for all transactions for a reason. If an agent is representing both the buyer and the seller, then they have to disclose this fact to all parties involved in the transaction. If they do not, they risk heavy fines and penalties. One of the other major criticisms found in my comment section is that artists sign the deal, therefore they should be held responsible to the terms. And I absolutely agree, but most up-and-coming artists probably have a low-paying job to pay the bills, don't have an established paying fan base, and aren't equipped with enough skills or management to be able to go independent fully. So a label shows up at their door and offers a $1 million record contract. Woo, I'm gonna be a millionaire. How could you possibly turn down the deal if you don't understand every nuance of the music industry? Most young kids and up-and-coming artists don't have a lawyer in their phone, so when the label says, we'll give you $1 million record deal and we'll provide all of the management and lawyer personnel for you to become the next star, how could you expect someone to not get bought into the dream? How many of you watching this video have consulted with a lawyer whenever you were signing the paperwork for your current employment? Probably not many. I know I didn't. And they were paying me a lot less than what a lot of these are signing as their advance or their record deal. Here's John Kellogg giving advice to artists who may not be able to afford a lawyer.
So it's very important to have a lawyer look at it. And there are organizations, if you can't afford and a lawyer that does it regularly, there are usually volunteer association, volunteer lawyers for the arts in every town. And you really need to find an attorney. I was in the same position with my band when I was in college. You know, we got offered a deal and we had to go to a criminal lawyer, didn't know much about it. He went through the contract and he said, this contract is horrible. Most new artist contracts are horrible.
Here's another entertainment lawyer speaking about the value of getting the right terms on your first contract.
I'm Don Passman, Los Angeles, California, and I'm an attorney in the music business. Artists should get a lawyer as soon as they have something going on in their life that they're going to end up having to make a deal of some kind. Even a very simple deal ought to be run by a lawyer, because some of the biggest mistakes that have been made in the music business are made by people who at the beginning of their careers signed long-term deals where they were tied up for important rights with people that may or may not have been the right people and in fact had gotten in the way of their career. And some big names have been involved with this. People like Billy Joel, people like Bruce Springsteen, people like Michael Jackson had contracts that caused them difficulties that they signed early in their career. And a lot of times if they'd had a lawyer review it, then they might have avoided some of these problems.
Does anyone watching want to know a little secret about the record industry on how they scam artists? In my research for part 1, I came across what are called breakage deductions and how this is a little known industry secret that the labels want to keep hush-hush. Not too long ago, the music industry would sell vinyl records and physical copies of CDs. When you're moving the volume that they were moving, unfortunately sometimes the product would get damaged in transit to the retailer stores. Who do you think would pay for the damaged product? In this Texas.gov template for an exclusive artist recording contract, there is a section for deductions and breakage fees. This SoundOnSound.com article provides good input to the breakage deductions. Overall, you might only get paid on 90% of actual sales since retailers are able to return records they don't sell. The record label therefore holds onto a portion of your royalties, usually 10%, as a reserve until all sales are verified. You must make sure that this reserve will be liquidated, paid out, at regular intervals, and that the artist, you, receives their entitlement in full. In reality, most deductions are artificial and in no way reflect the true cost to the label. Packaging on CDs manufactured in volume is cheap. Similarly, as more records are sold through digital channels, a reserve for breakages and the allocation of free digital goods ceases to make any sense at all other than to boost the label's profits. I'm not sure how often breakage fee deductions exist in contracts today. I would need to see all of them, but I would not be surprised if some contracts still have that clause. I mean, think of how silly it is that they can throw in this breakage deduction clause into your contract when almost all the money is made from streams nowadays, not even actual CD sales. Just another little trick that the label uses to make as much money as they can off all you little artists. After my first 2 videos in this series have gained some serious traction, I have now realized how massive of a topic the music industry is, and my plan is to keep discussing all the various nuances in this industry. I find this to be a fascinating and entertaining topic. If you have any stories or info to share that you think would make for an interesting video, please email me. And those of you who have already emailed me, trust me, I have not forgotten about you. I hope to get you on video soon. Thank you so much for watching.